one of the biggest mistakes I was making for those years and years where I kept struggling, right? I kept losing weight, gaining more weight, losing weight, gaining more weight. And my blood pressure went from being 140 over 90, which was already hypertensive, to getting as high as the 170s over 100s. One thing I was doing is I kept trying to find like the one food to help me, right? Like I would see, oh, okay, beets help with blood pressure. Let me do that. Oh, okay. Spinach helps, or oh, I need more potassium, I need a banana. As opposed to adhering to an actual system of how I ate. I wasn't thinking about it systematically, right? I'm thinking of, oh, just this one food, or let me stop this one food, this one food. Now, one of the main things that helped me was a meal plan, right? It helped that helped me get on my path, right? Now, I don't recommend meal plans to last forever. They're not meant to last forever, but they are a great starting point. The thing is, most people don't know how to go about building their meal plan. Okay? So I want to share with you the steps on how to create a meal plan that actually works. And when you do it correctly, technically you can say it'll last you forever. And I'll explain what I mean as I go through the steps, okay? First thing is first. And many people aren't going to like this, but it's necessary, okay? You have to start with whole foods, okay? So before we even get into the meal plan, we're only choosing foods that are whole foods. We're discarding everything else that you can consume that planet Earth has to offer. Why is this important? Whole foods is what nature produces, what the Most High gave us to eat. Okay? It's like in systems theory, they teach garbage in, garbage out. Garbage inputs creates garbage outputs. This is the most important step of the whole thing. If you just if you were to just stick to this alone, you will likely see amazing results. But there are other steps we could take to make it a much more enjoyable experience and a much more sustainable experience and a faster experience. And that's what we're going to go over in the next few steps. But if you just take this step alone, learn what the definition of a whole food is, which is anything that is produced from the earth. Okay. The more in its natural form it is from the earth, the more of a whole food it is. Macaroni noodles, they don't grow. I don't know where you grow macaroni noodles at. Now they do grow the wheat to process it and grind it down and do all of that to it, but by then it becomes a whole new unrecognizable product. Okay? Start with whole foods first. Step two. This was the game changer for me. And if I'm being honest, I actually did this in reverse. And you'll see what I mean as I explain to you what step two is. But now that we have the list that we can choose from, identify what your favorite foods are. What are the foods that you actually like? Not foods that you don't mind eating, right? Not foods that that you feel neutral about, but foods that you will actually go out of your way to eat. They exist on this Whole Foods. Everybody on this planet has at least a few Whole Foods that they genuinely enjoy, right? And it doesn't matter if it's a food that's supposed to be a full course meal or something like that. Don't let's not overcomplicate it yet. Okay. So now that you have your whole foods list, we're gonna go through this list and see what are your favorite foods. What foods do you actually enjoy? Like personally, I love watermelon. I love potatoes, and I'm so glad I love potatoes because that's such a beneficial food. But that's a conversation for another video. What I had did on my journey, I actually wrote all my favorite foods first, and then I identified which ones were whole foods. If you want to go about it that way, that's fine. But either way, we should end up at the intersection of whole foods and foods that you enjoy. That's the whole goal. Okay, so you have your list of whole foods, your list of your favorite foods. Which of these foods survive both lists? This is the key to your meal plan working. Okay, this is the key. So that step is so I done already gave you like just following these. Then we got two more steps to go. Just following these two steps alone could change your life. That's all it takes. Just those two steps alone could change your life. And we got two more steps to go. Now, here we are in step three. And in this step, this is where a lot of us will start to make different decisions because it depends on what your goal is, right? If fat loss is your goal, you may go another direction. If reversing or managing your diabetes is your goal, you may go another direction. If reversing your hypertension, lowering your blood pressure, naturally you may go another direction. Okay. So in my case, I'm going to share what I did for my blood pressure, because blood pressure was my goal. I wasn't even trying to lose weight. I was just trying to not have to get on blood pressure medication. Okay. And so this is the step I took. And this is where it gets a little more complicated, requires some mathematics, it requires some commitment. It requires you to take some extra time out of your day. You may have to actually put something on the schedule. This is the part a lot of people don't feel like doing. A lot of people don't even feel like doing the first two steps, let alone this step. So you have to establish what are the most important nutrients, right? Because if we look at the cause, there's like three layers of causes, right? We got like the surface layer cause, and we got like the cause behind that cause, and then we got like the whole foundation that allowed these causes to manifest to begin with. But that's a whole nother conversation. Uh, so we're looking at more of this layer two cause. What we'll find is nutrient imbalances is what causes these things, right? So in the case of blood pressure specifically, we're looking at too much sodium, not enough potassium, not enough magnesium. Okay? Too much sodium, not enough potassium, not enough magnesium. And if it got so bad to the point where now you have high blood pressure, now we're in a position where we can, you don't have to, but it may serve you to do this. We want to overcompensate, at least for a while, with the nutrients we can afford to overcompensate with. So, for example, with potassium, you can overcompensate somewhat for a little bit, but you don't want to keep it that way forever. As opposed to magnesium, we can overcompensate with that because it's very difficult to overdose on magnesium. And I'm only talking about from foods. We're only talking about foods with this here. I'm not talking about supplements at all. Okay. So what we do is, so we have our whole foods, we have our favorite foods. Now we want to look at, and for this, perhaps we even want to go to some of the neutral foods, right? Some of the foods that we don't care one way or another. And we want to find, so, and I'm talking about blood pressure for this example, right? If you have diabetes or something else, there's other nutrients you're going to look at. And by the way, if this feels too complicated or too overwhelming, we can have a consultation to kind of help walk you through it, or I could also do it for you. All right, it is a paid service. Just send me a message or comment food system below, and we could either create this meal plan and system for you, or we could walk through it together. Okay, but those are paid services, just so you heads up. I'm trying to teach you everything I can in this video. So um for blood pressure, we want more magnesium, we want more potassium, we want less sodium. Those are the three main things. And omega-3 fatty acids, we want a whole lot of that. And we want less saturated fat. So there's five things, right? Sodium, potassium, magnesium, omega-3 fatty acids, and saturated fat. Those are the five main nutrients. Most of these things have five main nutrients. Find the foods that are highest in magnesium, highest in potassium, highest in omega-3 fatty acids, lowest in sodium, lowest in saturated fats. And eat most of those foods, especially during the first week. The results, they happen so fast. I had a class. I had a blood pressure class, and it was a guy who attended. He did what I said, and I only taught step 3 in his class. I didn't even teach these other steps I'm talking about. I only taught step 3. It was the classes. It was a 2-day class, about an hour each. So I taught 2 hours on this step, and the guy was doing everything. He was doing all the other things, right? Until he came to my class and he learned this step. He implemented this step. And then a week later, he sent me a picture of his latest blood pressure reading, which his doctor finally allowed him and advised him, say, okay, I guess you don't need the blood pressure medicine no more. Because he was trying to get off medicine forever. And the doctor was like, yo, you got to prove to me that you are going to make the decisions necessary so I can trust you to not be on medicine, which, by the way, points to how medicine isn't necessary, especially forever. I'm gonna be real. The money aside, greed and capitalism aside, yes, that plays a part. I'm not gonna lie. Of course, it plays a part. But also, the main thing is they don't believe. that you could stick to it. They don't believe that you're going to do what's necessary to take your health into your own hands. That's why they don't even present or go into detail about how you should eat. They just be like, okay, yeah, lower the sodium, or here's the DASH diet. Go do that. Get out of my face. But make sure you take that medicine, because they don't even have the faith in you to value yourself enough to invest in what's necessary and to take the proper steps to where you don't need to depend on them. And they figure we're gonna make money with you depending on us anyway. So here's the medicine. That's the real reason why. Prove your doctor wrong. Prove them wrong. And take these steps. Do what's not. If it's too overwhelming, oh well, pay. You got it. Time, money, and energy. Those are the three things that you have to invest to make things come true. And what's gonna be the highest leverage move you can make. But yeah, he did what I said when I taught that step. When I taught that step 3, basically, regenerating ratios is what I call it. We want to implement the strategy of regenerating ratios. Figure out which ratios do we need to implement in our meal plan, and do that. And within a week, you start seeing dramatic results. So now we're going into step 4. In step 4, we have to make it convenient. Okay, we have to find out how to make this elaborate plan we just came up with. We have to make it convenient, because if we can't make it convenient, we're not going to stick to it. Okay, we're not going to stick to it. And this step is what we really go over. Uh, when you come through and do either the consultation with me, or I do the actual system for you, and then I consult you on step 4, like that, how to actually what should we like operationalize that, like how to the practical steps to take to actually make it convenient, so you can actually stick to it. Follow these steps. I know this will help somebody out there. Check you on the next one. Peace.